I'm Frank, and I'm all about helping business owners and entrepreneurs start and grow their lawn care business. Make sure to subscribe, like, and hit the bell button so you're notified of my future videos. All right, what's going on, lawn care pros? Hey, today we are here with Jared. Jared is the owner of Pest and Lawn Ginja. Hey, Jared.
Hey, it's great to be here.
So going back, you mentioned the YouTube channel, like maybe putting that out for YouTube and so forth. So I have a YouTube question for you, right? So, we talked kind of about the lawn side of the business, the Pest and Lawn Ginja, right? That's your operations there. Now on Ginja. So we're gonna go back to that. We're gonna figure out, how did you come up with Ginja? So on the YouTube side of it, right? So we have maybe some people that are listening that are also YouTube creators, right? So tell us a little bit about your journey on the YouTube side, because I see the number of followers. I think you're like 110, 111.
Yeah, it's not much.
Yeah, it's not much at all.
I'm like an ingrown hair on YouTube's butt right now.
Well, I would say it's phenomenal, right? I mean, 111,000 subscribers.
Really, it's the views versus how many videos I have. I'm not going to mention any names, but there's channels that have just as many subscribers as I have, but they have 450 videos. I have 150.
That's just remarkable. That's remarkable. And going back to some of those creators that are just starting out, what are some advice that you can give them when they're first starting out? And I've heard several different things, like the first year is the most difficult, and as far as getting your subscribers and being consistent. And so what are some of the things? Okay.
There's so many excuses. It's kind of interesting, right? Because when I started this out, I was just putting stuff on Facebook. I had a couple of early on, like grub treatments, and one of my very first videos was talking about the difference between tall fescue and crabgrass, because we kept getting calls in March. And in my area, ground temps in March are hovering between 40 and 43 degrees. Like, there's no crabgrass. Like, right. Our annual grass, or our perennial grasses, are barely starting to grow in March. And so I had started making that video about it, and then I had published some grub videos that were very poor quality, and they were like 1-minute videos. And then one day I woke up and I'm like, you know what? I keep getting this complaint about my lawn's not growing. I already know the guy's way overwatering the lawn. And I should look this up real quick, what video it is. It was so funny. So I show up to this guy's house. I'm like, you know what? This guy has called me like a couple of times, but I had this same complaint several times where the lawn was literally melting out leaf spot fungus on it. And so I went in there and I said, okay, I'm going to bring my camera, which was my phone. And I set my phone up, and I think I just propped it up next to the car or something. I grabbed my soil probe and started showing people. This guy had water, like a pool. I mean, you could pull a soil plug almost 4 feet under. And it was just stupid, right?
Yeah.
Well, we ended up losing that customer because he didn't believe me,
right?
Which was pretty hilarious, right? But that video caught on real quick. And I started getting people from back east, and really what it came down to is two things. It came down to the thumbnail. If you look at the thumbnail that I produced on that video, and it's not a great one, but it was better than most. Okay, so this video was like way, way down there. And it's got 72,000 views over the last 4 years. It's called Classic Case of Overwatering. And my thumbnail is literally me squatting like a sumo with my soil probe, in the grass.
Right.
Nobody had really even knew what a soil probe was back then, because nobody was using them. And for YouTube is what I mean.
Yeah.
And so the thumbnail got him in, but if you start looking at the comments, like going into the video, the comments were very, very, very interesting because people were like, oh yeah, we see that here, we see that there. Oh, I'm from Florida. And it really like blew my mind. I was like, wait a minute. Why are people from Florida watching my video?
Interesting.
Why are people from Kansas watching my video? So I knew that one pinged. But the other thing is sometimes you got to throw the mud against the wall, right? But it comes down to two things. Thumbnail, quality content. I legit went in there and told people that I was using a soil probe to prove watering. Not to guess, but to prove it. But I also showed the process on how I was going through the entire lawn, watching it. And then I take the camera and I shove it into the lawn. And keep in mind, by today's quality, this video is garbage. Straight garbage. My verbiage isn't great. My video quality is not great. But it still has 72,000 views.
That's awesome. I love that.
Right off the bat, it got that. However, the other side of it is be the expert first. One of the videos that I ping the most on is my crabgrass video. That was 3 years ago. It's 1.9 million views.
Wow.
Video quality, it's horrible. But the information in it, it's solid. I had to use that information for training for the last 10 years, training my technicians. And the funniest part about it is I was with a guy named Freddie. He owns a company called Lawn Thumbs. He's got a YouTube channel as well. And I had been talking to him for weeks. I'm like, hey, when you get a lawn that's just kind of a poop show, dude, like, I just need you to call me. It needs to have a little bit of everything in it. So he called me up one morning. He's like, bro, I think I found the lawn. And keep in mind, at this point, I think I had maybe 1,500 subscribers at this point, if I was lucky. And I looked at him and he's like, dude, you got that look in your eye. I'm like, bro, this video is going to be big. And he's like, what? He's looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, I could just tell by the way things are flowing out of my mouth that the information it's going to be good. And he just looked at me and started laughing. He's like, all right. And here we are 3 years later, 1.9 million views on that video.
Man, that's amazing.
And it's not as big as some of the other guys'. It's just not. But I knew that the information was that good because I had been training it for 10 years. And I knew not one person had done a video like that, but I knew it was a problem nationwide. And the gist of the video is you're misdiagnosing what you think is crabgrass.
Right. And that happens quite often. But hey, so what about somebody that's just starting out, right? So if they're going in and, they're not going to be the first on many of these things because it's starting to be, I wouldn't say it's saturated yet, but there is saturation compared to, going into it 10 years ago or 5 years ago. So what do you tell somebody, a new creator?
You're not going to like my answer to this.
Uh-oh. Don't get on YouTube, right?
No, absolutely not. I think as the community grows, it's a good thing.
Okay.
And again, going back to the original thing, quality content will trump everything.
Right on.
Period. However, stop worrying about being famous. Stop worrying about what other people think.
Right on.
Make the content, put it out. Your first 10 videos are going to be garbage, no matter how you look at it. And you're going to be your own worst critic. Every single video you're going to hate. You're not going to like the way that you look. You're not going to like the way that you sound in the video. You're not going to like your voice and fluctuations. There's going to be so much there that you're just not going to like. But you know what? I tell people this all the time. They're like, well, why this, and this? I say, well, because I don't have to look at myself. You're looking at me.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's such great advice for people that are just starting out. Just do it, right?
You just have to do it.
You just got to do it. And that goes hand in hand with business, right? And, like I hear people talking about, oh, I don't have the fancy mower. I don't have the great edger. I don't have the budget. And
okay. So let me explain that real quick.
Yeah.
I had money to flush into this thing. Not a lot, but I had an extra grand laying around that I could have bought this, could have bought that to make my life easier for YouTube. My buddy looked at me and he goes, hey, how are you going to play this? And I said, you know what? I'm going to prove to myself that the American dream is live and well. And he said, well, what do you mean by that? I said, I'm going to start this with zero, and I'm not going to pump in a dime, not a dime into this thing until it pays for itself. And he looked at me and goes, interesting. How are you going to do that? And I said, well, everybody's got a cell phone. He said, well, cell phones is like 4 years ago, we're doing like 720p, if you're like,
yeah,
they weren't great, but that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. I was not going to pump it in. So my goal was to make $1 on YouTube because I didn't know many people that had done it. I had a buddy of mine making like $200 a month, and I was like, holy crap, are you serious? You're making $200 a month, dude? And he's like, yeah, I'm making $200 a month. It just pays for my camera equipment. It's pretty cool. And his name is Brandon Pierce. He owns a YouTube channel called Brandon Pierce, where he does videos on what are those SUVs that like the Rhinos and the Can-Ams, and he does all of that.
Oh, okay, cool.
And he had at the time, I think he had like, I don't know, 4,000 followers, and he was doing pretty good a couple of years into it. And I was like, you know what? I said, bare minimum, I want to make $1, but if I can figure out how to make $1, I can make $2. If I can make $2, I make 100. If I can turn 100, I can turn it to 1,000. I said, but at the end of the day, it just comes down to quality content. He's like, yeah, that's what it comes down to. And he told me, he's like, just start. He's like, it's the worst thing ever because you're going to be your own worst critic. But for those who are totally into analytics, I'm going to give you a little bit of a gem.
Okay.
Anybody will watch something for 3 minutes. Anybody. Start all your videos between 3 and 5 minutes, max. Don't do anything else. Because think about it. How are we being conditioned these days?
Yeah, we want immediate gratification.
But look at TikTok. How long are those videos? Mm-hmm. If you can't figure out how to keep somebody's attention for 2 to 4 minutes on a 3 to 5 minute video, you've got bigger problems.
Yeah.
And so that's where you need to start out, is 3 to 5 minutes, figure out how to keep people's attention. The other one that I got pretty famous for right off the bat was power raking.
Okay.
This was 4 years ago. It's under it's got a thumbnail that says, "What's wrong with my lawn? Power rake the anti-thatch." And I strategically called it that because everybody kept saying, "Oh, Thatch is good, Thatch is good, Thatch is good." And I'm like, yeah, but it's... And I kept telling John Perry this. People don't know this, but Perry and I go way back. Probably, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. So my lawn had completely melted out of my house. I lived on like 13,000 square feet of grass. It was on a half-acre lot. And I was throwing everything under the sun. I could throw a little bit of fungicide at it and get it to kind of react for a couple of weeks, but I wasn't actually fixing a problem, and it was really bothering me. So Perry looked at me. He's like, "What are you going to do?" I said, "Well, I'm going to dethatch the lawn." And he goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. There's no oxygen transfer because we've got so much clay in the soil." And he looked at me. He goes, "Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea." And I'm like, he's like, "But bro, look at your house." He's like, "This is a lot." And I said, "Yeah, it's pretty crazy." So I started using the dethatcher, and dude, it was just coming out and coming out. And keep in mind, my grass looked good.
Yeah.
Like it was emerald green. At the time it wasn't because it had the melting out fungus. But there was no way that you would have understood how much garbage was in there. So I ended up fixing it, and sure enough, within 6 weeks, it looked like a top, just a top. And my results sustained. Instead of it melting out again 2-3 weeks later, I think I got 8-9 weeks out of it, without having any issues. So I started I put out a video called "To Mulch or Not to Mulch," and that got a little bit of traction. And then I found this other lawn. I mean, it was unbelievable. She had a ton of fine fescue in the lawn, and I was looking at it going, it felt like a 4-inch sponge. And I had told her for a season or two, I'm like, you gotta thatch this. And she's like, what? I'm like, it's not thatch though. It's just dead grass. She's, again, the whole thing across the nation. Oh, you can't remove the thatch. Well, you're not removing the thatch.
Right.
And so I said, listen, I'm going to do a video. I'll tell you what, I'll run my machine for free, but you got to pay for landscapers to do the cleanup because I'm not doing it. And she was like, oh, okay, cool. So I got a local guy that I've been using for a very long time. He's been in a couple of my videos. Told him I needed a favor. This rich lady had money. I wanted to run it. And he goes, okay, I'll do it. So my first pass, if you just go into that video, it's a very short video. It's 3 minutes, 38 seconds. My very first pass in a 1 by 1 square foot area, 9 inches of dead grass.
Wow.
It was just stupid. I would say the average was probably 3 to 4 inches of dead grass. And she had 8,000 square feet of grass. And so everything looked dead because your eye just goes to the dead stuff. But again, the moral of the story is if you look at that video, 3 minutes, 38 seconds, 582,000 views.
I got you. That's great advice. And so kind of, I just want to make sure I'm getting all this. So for our listeners that are, that like starting out, the number one thing, just get started. And the number two thing I would think, and this goes not just for YouTube, but for the business side, is don't worry about whether you got, the budget for it. Just do it on a, shoestring budget.
Cell phone. Everybody's got
cell
one.
phone, right? And
they all do high quality these days. They're all doing at least HD.
And if it comes to like, in comparing the YouTube to like a lawn care business, like if you're starting out mowing, it doesn't matter if you got commercial or residential. Just get started. Go get, you don't need a blower. Go get a broom. Just get started. That's the,
Well, look at me. I used a Thatch rake for 3 years.
Nice.
You didn't even see me buying the Sunjo until like a year and a half ago.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, just get started. Now, the people that are, listening, and we were talking about the YouTube, journey, the ones that are, on the brink of, man, I've put out several videos, I'm not getting traction, and this can go hand in hand with business too. I've been in business for 2 years and I'm not getting the same traction or where I expected to be in that 2 years on, in my mowing business, in my YouTube channel, and
sure,
they're on the brink of quitting, right? Mm-hmm. What do you give? What kind of advice? And correct me if I'm wrong. I think everyone goes through that, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's the guy that has 111,000 YouTube subscribers, the one that's got 1 million subscribers,
sure.
Whether they've got 50,000 or 20,000.
Well, I'll get a little personal with you.
Yeah,
I went through a divorce last year, and it was difficult. It sucked. And it creams your creativity. I had no plans on quitting whatsoever. But if you look at the amount of videos that I posted last year, it was next to nothing by comparison. Commonly, I had done 55 videos a year. Last year, I'll count them up from the time things started going bad. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13. Instead of 55, I did 13. It was a rough year. Creativity was down. People were even asking me, like, it just doesn't seem like the videos are the same. I had people messaging me. They're like, they're still good. They're just not where it's at. And energy is a big thing, man. It just is.
Yeah.
However, I didn't stop. One of my videos has 195,000 views. And, oh, well, that's easy because you're the Ginja. Well, guess what? Another one of my videos only has 6,700 views. Another one only has 4,300 views. I've got one at 11,000 views. I've got one at 22,000 views, but they're not pinging the same that they were a year ago. And it's because of myself. It was the energy that I was putting out. It was everything. But you really have to sit down, right? I think we like to blame things. Oh, it's YouTube's fault. It's the AI. It's this, it's that. No, you're not connecting with your audience. So the first thing that I do when I get in these slumps is I go straight to my comments. And if I'm getting trolled every single video, and this happened to me, I want to say 3 years ago, and I really got to thank this guy. And people thought, people are like, oh, Ginja's going to pop off on this guy. No, I really appreciate it. He kept saying every video of mine, he's like, get your stupid, ugly face out of the shot. I can't see what's going on. I don't care what you look like. And I'm like, and I started thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? I think he's right. So I started taking a lot of B-roll. So I'm still giving the same great information, but instead of watching me talk, they're able to see the process behind me.
Wow.
And so I made that change, and instantly my views went up. Just instantly. Now that added a lot of extra productivity or production time. Mm-hmm. It just did. And you'll notice, my videos, I personally feel like my quality is a lot better than other people because my videos average 20 hours to 40 hours each to create. I take a lot of time. Could I slam out 4 videos a week, make them really short, get a ton of views? Yes, but my channel for what I'm trying to do, and this is what you got to figure out on your own. I want somebody to come into my channel and go, holy crap, I have a question about this. Oh, he's got a video about that. Holy crap, I've got a question about this. Oh, wow, he's got another video, but not only does he have a video, but it's packed full of knowledge. I don't do the vlog side. I just don't. I tried that for a second. I didn't like the way that it felt. Went away from it because you got to do you. Mm-hmm. If you're going to be a vlogger, be a vlogger. If you're going to do DIY, do DIY. If you're going to be education, be education. But stay in the lane that you create because that's what people expect. So when people are going all over the place, and I'm not talking about content. I'm just talking about how they act in front of the camera. If you're all over the place in front of the camera, people don't know what to expect, and they'll go somewhere else because they want to be where they feel welcome. And my subscribers are my subscribers. Like you look at my subscribers compared to Alan Haynes, totally different group of people. The way that they buy, the way that they watch the videos, the way that they interact in the video, like the comment section, just everything, just different. Alan's got a fantastic following. He's a great guy. But we have different people. You will attract your tribe. So if you're not attracting a tribe, it's because you're not presenting value. Mm-hmm. And it could be as simple as the videos are fantastic, but your thumbnails suck. Mm-hmm. It could be that your thumbnails are fantastic, but your video content blows. And you have to understand that. So first and foremost, I go to my own comments to see exactly what people are telling me. Oh, we really like it when you do this, this, and this. And so, okay, fantastic. Well, then I go to the top 3 to 5 channels, my competitors. Mm-hmm. I don't care about their videos. I don't watch their videos, and I don't watch them for a reason. My main reason is I want to stay in my own lane, and I don't want to accidentally copy their stuff because it happens a lot, mimicking, right? Mm-hmm. I watched a video the other day where a guy copied my entire video, and I couldn't stop laughing because I have a theory. I don't care if you copy it, do it better.
Yeah.
If you're going to copy my stuff, that's great. Do it better. But he did such a poor job from start to finish. I knew he wasn't going to get the views, but then I just sat there. I was like, dude, you missed a great opportunity of just doing you.
Yeah.
And again, you're going to copy my stuff, go for it. I have no problems with that, but do it better.
Right?
But yeah, go to the comments, figure out. And again, there was some, I was on a guy's channel And the comment coming up, man, dude, your drone footage is amazing. It's amazing. So guess what I did? I spent money and I bought a drone.
Nice.
And I started getting drone footage. Well, now you have to have a Part 107 license. So that's why you don't see a lot of guys using drones anymore.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that.
You can't use drone footage that you capture unless you have a Part 107 license if you're monetized.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Okay, well, that's good. That's good information to know.
Yeah, it's against the law, interesting enough. So the moral of the story is watch what people are saying about your content, but more so, what are they not saying that you need to hear?
Mm-hmm. But when going back to that, though, when the person that's thinking about quitting their YouTube channel or quitting their lawn care business because they're not where they felt like they were going to be, you're right. And
some people are meant to be business owners, man.
Yeah,
they're just not.
Right.
If you've truly figured out that lane and you don't have the passion for it, get out. Just do something that is less stressful. Yeah. I look at people. I've been an entrepreneur since I was probably 7. And I know that sounds weird, but I started my door-to-door career at 7 years old selling Tootsie Pops for the Boy Scouts.
Nice.
And I wasn't even in the Boy Scouts at age 7, but I knew how to go door to door. I knew how to communicate with people. You don't have to have that kind of a weird drive to make things happen, but you have to have the mentality that you're going to be completely transparent with yourself, but you're going to have a drive and a passion that nobody else will understand.
Yeah, that's great advice. I like that a lot. So before we wrap up, hey, let's figure out, Pest and Lawn Ginja. So let's talk about Ginja. How did you come up with that?
So I was an advocate in high school being a redhead, right? Junior high was rough. Everybody makes fun of you. And so I got in the Facebook crowd and I was like, what could I call myself? I don't want to go by my name, for one reason or another. So in Great Britain, kind of a swear word for redheads was ginger. So I started calling myself Ginger. And then when I created my YouTube channel, I was like, you know what? I kind of feel like I'm like a lawn ninja. And I was debating between Ginger, the Pest and Lawn Ginja, or the Lawn Ninja. And I know there's a Lawn Ninja out there now. And then I started thinking about it. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should go with Ginja. Just kind of make it a little bit more jovial, a little bit more fun. And so I started in my early videos, and I sounded like a complete moron. You could tell that I was like on the fence on what to call them. I was having a huge identity crisis. It was pretty funny. I'm like, hey, welcome back, guys. This is the Ginger. And then another one, I'm like, this is the Ginger Ninja. And then I started saying Ginja, and it just flowed. I had a much better flow with that. And then people were like, oh, I kind of like that. And so that's where it was born. I don't even think I chose the name for the first 6-8 months.
Oh, wow.
To be honest with you, it was more so about the content than anything else. And I wasn't actually trying to create content for a national audience or even a worldwide audience. I was just trying to create local content at the time. And that's kind of where it ebbed and flowed. And eventually, there's a couple of redhead songs out there where there's a song where he's kind of making fun of himself as the Ginja. It's a guy, I believe, actually, I can't remember if he's from Ireland, Scotland, or if he's actually from Great Britain. But he has a whole song on being a Ginja, and you can't say ginger, it's Ginja. So it was pretty funny. But yeah, it kind of goes hand in hand, but that's how the Ginja was born.
Well, I like it. I like the name of your company, Pest and Lawn Ginja. That's pretty cool.
So, I appreciate it.
So again, hey, I really appreciate you coming on, Jared. Thank you so much for the opportunity to interview you. Man, you you gave so many nuggets. I hope golden nuggets at that.
We want everybody to succeed.
Absolutely.
The
Absolutely.
market is so big, people kind of go crazy. True Green's got 26,000 in these 2 counties. I say, okay, so what are you trying to say? Well, they've taken them all. I'm like,
no, they haven't.
There's 1.2 million people between those 2 counties.
Yeah.
And you're talking about 26,000. Even if you divide 1.2 divided by 5, that's a lot of homes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the market is not saturated in any means, and there's opportunity for all of us to grow. So again, I really appreciate you coming on, and I look forward to having you on again. So
yeah, let's do it.
All right, that sounds great, man. Thank you so much.
All right, good luck. Have a good day, guys.
Thank you, buddy. I hope this information was helpful to you. Please make sure to subscribe, like, and hit the bell button so you're notified of my future videos. See you next time, lawn care pros.